Good evening. It's Monday, January the 17th. We want to get you caught up on the biggest stories of the day.
We begin this evening with a SWAT situation out of one Gwinnett County home. Our Yasmina Alston has the latest.
Good afternoon, Rick and Sean. This is all happening at the Gwinnett Point apartment homes here in Norcross. And if you look over my shoulder, you can still see some officers as well as the SWAT team here working this scene. At this time, police have not released a lot of information, but we do know that there's an armed man who's barricaded himself inside of one of the units. Investigators are telling us they got their first call around 5:30 this morning, but officers weren't able to make any contact with the caller. They then got a second call shortly after that, and that's when SWAT was activated. Right now, we do not know of any injuries or if anyone else is in that home.
At this time, we do not know if it's a domestic issue or what type of emergency. We do know that there is a male inside the home that possibly has weapons.
And if you look down the road here, you can see that police are limiting access to the area. They've also been asking people who live in this area to try and avoid the area so that officers can continue to work this scene. We'll, of course, update you as we learn more. Live in Norcross, Yasmina Alston, CBS 46 News.
Thank you, Yasmina. Several metro Atlanta neighborhoods in cleanup mode after a winter storm blew through North Texas. Strong winds, freezing rain, toppling massive trees like this one in northeast Atlanta that came down right on top of that house. Oof. Firefighters had to rescue a man who was trapped inside.
And a similar scene in Roswell, where a 100-year-old tree crushed part of the city's cultural arts center. Luckily, no one was around when it fell, but it is going to take crews some time to clear the debris. Boy, oh boy, is it cold outside. And then you add the wind to it, Rick. I mean, it feels colder than what the actual temperature is. And apparently this threat isn't over yet.
That's right. It's a strong gust of wind could come and cause some more damage for the area. CBS 46's Adam Murphy is live in Fulton County, where one family is counting their blessings after a very close call this morning. Adam.
Well, you guys talked about it. We've seen a lot of trees down. That seems to be the biggest damage that we've noticed from this winter storm. And that's exactly what happened here at this home in Buckhead, where a large tree fell on top of this home, splitting it in two and trapping a man in his bedroom. And the cleanup is underway right now out here at this location. Emergency workers arrived on scene and performed a rescue operation here on Old Ivy Road in Buckhead around 7 o'clock this morning. Now, crews had to use special equipment to rescue the man who was trapped in his bedroom. We do understand there were two others in the home as well who were unharmed. Now, the man that was injured was taken to the hospital, but we can report he is in stable condition. Officials say having the right training and equipment in these types of emergencies are key to making sure that everyone, including the first responders, make it out safely.
Yeah, a tree fell during the night and trapped one of the occupants underneath it. Our crews got out here, requested more resources, and then we used our special technical rescue teams to lift the tree.
Now, this is one of several spots around the metro where we have seen a tree fall and cause some damage. Coming up all new next hour, we're going to take you around the metro to give you a sense of some of the other areas that were hit pretty hard from this winter storm throughout metro Atlanta. For now, though, we are live in Buckhead. Adam Murphy, CBS 46 News.
Breaking news right now. A propane truck has exploded after catching fire in Cobb County. Alan Devlin, live at the breaking news desk with details. Alan.
Sean, and we have the video of that explosion, which I want to show you guys right now. Take a look at this video. Massive flames erupt from that truck as crews worked to tame it. According to Cobb Fire, several firefighting teams and battalion chiefs, hazmat crews all responded. The truck contains about 140 tanks of propane, and about 60 of them went up right there in that video. Wow, flames shooting about 100 feet up into the air. This exploded right there on the 1400 block of Industry Road Southwest. According to our reports, we had a reporter there on scene a short while ago. That fire has since been extinguished without any reported injuries. From the breaking news desk, I'm Alan Devlin. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Alan. Today we are remembering American civil rights icon Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Here in his home state of Georgia, leaders from all over the country gathered at Ebenezer Baptist Church, where, of course, Dr. King served as pastor.
Across Atlanta today, many organizations held special events paying tribute to Dr. King. Hosea Helps celebrated the sacrifices made by Dr. King by serving those in need. For 4 hours today, the nonprofit gave out boxes of groceries to families in need. Organizers tell us that Hosea Helps grew out of the civil rights movement after Hosea Williams, a very close friend of Dr. King, spotted someone digging through trash.
He saw a man eating out of a garbage can in 1970, and he was so disturbed by it, he started feeding people from that time. And here we are 50 years later, carrying on the great legacy that started all those years ago.
Each box given away included enough food to feed a family of 4 for 2 weeks. Today's donation drive is an annual event that happens every year on MLK Day.
Dr. King spent his life, of course, fighting for equal rights, including at the ballot box. And right now, a bill to reform the election process is facing long odds in Washington. But as Skylar Henry reports, the president says the fight is far from over.
On this holiday marking his father's birthday, Martin Luther King III led a peace walk across Washington's Frederick Douglass Bridge. He called on Congress to pass stricter protections for voting rights.
If you can deliver an infrastructure bill for bridges, you can deliver voting rights for Americans. If you do not, there's no bridge in this nation that can hold the weight of that failure.
The bill would remove restrictions that Republicans say enhance election security. But with its passage in doubt, advocates say the nation is at a critical point.
We need to have protections at the polls and to make sure that we can get there safely.
The King family wants changes now, putting more pressure on Congress to pass sweeping voting rights reform to give more Americans access to the ballot and not allow Senate rules to stand in their way.
The unmitigated gall to hide behind cloture and the filibuster, two procedural hurdles. When black people turned the tide to get Joe Biden elected, it puts me beside myself.
Last Thursday, two moderate Senate Democrats, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, threw their support behind the legislation, but they do not approve of changing Senate rules in order for it to pass. Its failure would be a stinging blow to the president, who said it's not enough to praise Dr. King on this holiday. It's time for action.
We must commit to his unfinished work, to deliver jobs and justice, to protect the sacred right to vote.
The Senate plans to debate the voting rights bill on Tuesday. The president says whatever happens, he'll continue the fight. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Today, the world celebrates the life and legacy of civil rights icon Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. CBS 46 Washington News Bureau reporter Nicole Newman is looking at his commitment to voter rights and the legislation in Congress pushing for voter equality.
In one of the most iconic speeches in our nation's history, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. called for civil and economic equality for Black Americans in his I Have a Dream speech. King's activism would make way for a pivotal move toward freedom at the ballot box through his work with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Dr. Charles Steele Jr. is the SCLC's current president and CEO.
Dr. King discovered the fact that we were being dehumanized and discriminated against in terms of the voter rights. That was the basis of all rights.
King's advocacy led to the signing of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Nearly 60 years later, the fight for voter equality continues. But there's disagreement on how to go about it. In 2021, 19 states passed a record 34 new voting laws. Opponents say they limit access to voting. Michael Sozan of the Center for American Progress is the liberal think tank's leading expert on voting rights.
It's a really kind of perilous moment for democracy when you think that many states could have so many laws on the books now designed to really thwart upcoming elections and make it harder for people of color to vote.
But proponents of these state laws believe they expand access and protect people's vote. In Congress, there are two bills that seek to end discrimination at the polls. Both pieces of legislation stalled in the Senate. The main holdup, many Republicans believe the bills are government overreach and elections should be run at the state level.
I think the argument's weak, and I don't think that there is an argument that can be made for the federal government taking over elections. That's wrong.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer hoped for movement on the bills by Martin Luther King Day, but the Senate adjourned until Tuesday. In Washington, I'm Nicole Newman.
Animal shelters across the country are seeing an uptick in donations thanks to the late Betty White. Today would have been the actress's 100th birthday, but as you know, she died over the holidays, New Year's Eve actually. Fans have been taking part in the Betty White Challenge, donating $5 to an animal rescue or charity of their choice. Much needed by Dog Days Rescue in Kennesaw. They're caring for a Labradoodle found badly burned in DeKalb County.
He crashed real hard after the cod skin graft. He was good. He was really good. His temperature spiked to 105. His vitals were all over the place. He was very lethargic. We didn't expect him to make it through the night.
Well, we're told the pup was able to pull through and is now, aside from being very cute, in stable condition.
Thanks for watching CBS 46 News. Watch us live wherever you are, our mobile and our streaming news app. You can also watch us on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.